Are you ready? Here we go. We're on TV. Okay. Welcome to the City Revere Conservation Commission meeting, Wednesday, April 6th, 2022. For those that want to, let's stand and salute the flag with the Pledge of Allegiance. All right, so we'll take roll call. Robert Cassidy is absent. Heather Legier?
Here.
Ann Raponi is absent. John Shue is here. Joe LaValle is absent. Brian Averback?
Present.
Present. And Nicholas Rudolph?
Here.
All right. So we have 4 out of 7. We do have a quorum. First up on the agenda is the review and approval of the meeting minutes from February 2nd, 2022. Recall, we did not have a meeting in March. We didn't have any new business. So these are from the February meeting. Are there any corrections or additions?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, minutes are approved. All right, I want to take time out for introductions. So we're very happy and glad to have 2 new conservation commissioners. To my right is Nicholas Rudolph. Welcome aboard. And to my left is Brian Averback.
Thank you.
Welcome aboard. Okay. Next on the agenda is we have a request for determination of applicability from the City of Revere for Ambrose Park, which really isn't Ambrose Park. The city's received a grant to rehabilitate the park. That project involves some maintenance, repair, and replacement of existing facilities and equipment and will not remove, fill, dredge, or alter that area. So Ellie Baker is here representing the city. If you state your name and address.
Elle Baker from the Planning Department, Open Space and Environmental Planner, and the address is 281 Broadway here at City Hall. I'm here requesting your review and approval for the determination of applicability. We are making renovations to Ambrose Park. The renovations are to an existing site to repair and replace existing structures. We will not plan to remove any fill. We're not doing any dredging or altering the landscape. We will be changing the footprint slightly in that we're going to be moving it a little bit towards the entrance, and we're going to be replacing the mulch with poured-in-place rubber that also has gravel beneath for drainage and also some drainage improvements there. So making improvements and also adding a little bit more green space. So right now the configuration of the green space is a little bit towards the entry and along the perimeter, and we'll be increasing that and moving it more towards the back end of the park. The entire design for the playground is for accessibility and inclusivity, which is why we're changing the mulch to poured-in-place rubber so that we are in compliance with the state's requirements for that. And all of the equipment has been designed in partnership with the Commission on Disability here in the City of Revere to make sure that we're selecting equipment that suits the needs for all to be included. And that's about it. That's the gist of the project and what we're asking for a review at this time. If you have any questions, please feel free.
We'll start with Heather and move this way. If you have any questions.
I don't, but if this project goes anyway, like the way that Gibson Park did, then I'm all for it.
Thank you.
That sounds like a great improvement.
Thank you.
On a definite need over there. I lived in that neighborhood as a kid, and glad to hear that it's going to be renovated.
Thank you.
Yeah, I walked it down yesterday. It'll be pretty nice when it's all done. It's in a real nice area. It's only in a floodplain, and it doesn't really flood there in that particular area. So our discussion and decision tonight is deciding, does that activity require, well, what are the words? You know, is the work subject to protection under the act as described? So there is a box here. So what if we vote in saying that the activity is really not, because it's not altering, filling, dredging type of thing, it's really not subject to protection. So if we vote in the affirmative for that, then we end up giving a negative determination on the request for determination. We're saying, nope, doesn't apply. Just so you guys are clear.
My only concern would be that later on down the road, something comes up and the permitting process that would have to ensue if we're prepared for that. Just that contingency that you never know. It is in a floodplain and things could happen, so we just have to be prepared that it could.
So this determination, if given, is good for 3 years, and it's for that scope of work, and it's for this work plan. Anything else that happens in there, they would have to go through the process again for an increase in scope, or somewhere something else. It would all have to go through the process again. So, all right. Are there any other questions? I don't see anyone in the audience to get any input from, so I'm going to close this part of the hearing. And we can vote on this determination of applicability that indeed the work as described will not remove, fill, dredge, or alter the area. Therefore, said work does not require the filing of a notice of intent. So that's the motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Have a second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay.
Thank you for your time.
You're good. I'll have Linda give you the original sometime tomorrow or Friday,
Okay.
so.
Thank you
okay.
so much.
Great, thank you.
Everyone have a great night.
Thank you, Al.
Thank you.
All right, so I have room in the agenda for open discussion. Does anyone want to bring up anything? I just ask, to the extent you guys continue working, trying to get your emails up and running. We are working on a project here, and I'm going to pull you guys in for volunteering and providing some time. But we're working out the details on how to get access on a Saturday. But what it mainly is all of the files are, we get a lot of requests, public records requests that we have to respond to. And a lot of our files, if you look at document retention, we could get rid of a lot of them and destroy them. But to do that, you have to have an inventory. We have to send that inventory to the state and get permission from the state before you destroy them. So we're in the process of inventorying all of these files, and right now they seem to go back to around 1990. So, yeah, and it's very interesting, even if you only did it one time, as you're going through the files, you kind of learn a lot, type of thing. So we are working on that. That's about the only thing there. I'll give you an update on 8 and 10 Marshvue Terrace. So for the new members, this was an area where the owners were given some bad information. They increased basically the backyard area space and infringed upon wetlands. And it's adjacent to Rumney Marsh. It's an area of critical environmental concern. So we issued an enforcement notice. We don't normally have, since September, it's the first one I've done. They've been extremely cooperative. They've hired a wetland scientist. We came up with a restoration plan. They had to wait until the ground thawed out. They pulled that all back, reestablished a slope, and they're in the process of, as soon as the plants come in, they'll get the plantings in, and then we'll have to monitor that for the next 2 years, make sure the plants get established. So I think at the end of the day, we'll end up with a better wetlands area than was there before. So that is the update on that. Other site visits, and I apologize, I know I copy you guys on lots of things, but I'm just trying to make sure I'm just inclusive. And for you, the new ones, commissioners, we cannot debate or within emails, because that would be in violation of the open meeting law. So if you see something and you have a question or a concern, this is the forum to bring it up in open meeting. So we can always delay, we can postpone, lots of things we can do. But if you're copied on stuff, you then become aware, and then you can do your own digging and form your own opinions. You just really can't share that. We do get a lot of requests, and unfortunately, a lot of them are during the business day, and I know you folks work, so I don't. I try and push them off to Saturday, but that's not always possible when they have these large groups. So we did do a pre-construction meeting at 646 Ocean Ave. That's the big parking lot next to Wonderland. And then you've seen all of the correspondence. We had a public records request. Couldn't find anything there. And then we get courtesy notifications for work going on, which is exempt under the Wetlands Protection Act. We're gonna get pulled into what's gonna go on at the new fire station at 140 Linway. Just so stay tuned for that. We were notified by the NWRA about the maintenance and repairs on the blow-off valves adjacent to Rumney Marsh. It's a really good project. The valves are old, and right now when they do maintenance to drain the pipes, they drain it into the canal there. With the new valves they're putting in, it's a double set of valves to give them double isolation, and the water then drains into a wet well. It doesn't go into the marsh anymore. However, I don't know if you guys saw some of the pictures. As they were doing the work to replace the valves and digging down, one of the valves failed. They had a blowout. Luckily, everything was in place, so it minimized whatever ended up in the water there. We had a tax lien citation where the city of Revere is the plaintiff and we're a defendant. So I referred that to the city attorney. He said not to worry about that. Another public records request for 1070R Broadway. And then, so a lot of these public records requests, Linda is the one that's here in City Hall. We'll go and look at the files and see if she can find anything. And that's the other thing, is we're trying to get this inventory of all the records so that we actually can do it electronically. And then we had the emergency response action plan submitted. And Nicholas is just talking about it. I looked at it at a high level. It looked like it's a done deal. But if you certainly read those things and have comments, I'll get you to the right people to send it to. Because as we know, well, I've always modified ERPs or SPCCs. You can change them anytime. That's it. We got a couple things coming up. If you guys are familiar with the Northern Strand Bike Trail. So we're gonna have to walk or ride that down, because as soon as she gets all the paperwork done, they're gonna come to us for a certificate of compliance. And we do have an obligation to put eyes on it. I saw part of it today. It's pretty cool. As soon as the weather warms up, I'm gonna ride that. That's probably the biggest thing that's coming up.
Do they have any issues with security permits from the DCR with the fire station?
You might want to put your mic on.
Because the fire station's in conjunction with the DCR, has there been any mishaps with that? Or because we're sharing the land with that?
They're working through all of those issues. I think we're having to trade out land with the DCR to get enough land to offset the building of that, but that's really out of our control right now. So. And since we're all here, the one last thing I am planning on doing is, over the last 3 to 5 years, there's been a lot of new construction. All of those sites had orders of conditions issued requiring them to do maintenance and to maintain maintenance logs. So I'm trying to make a list of all of those, along with the orders, and then break that up among us. And then there's no hurry or anything, but take your time, you contact them, arrange, give them some notice, and go see what they've been doing. I think it's important. And, you know, I'd like to start with the 5 years back and then kind of move forward. So, all right. Anyone else have anything?
I'd like to take a point of personal privilege to acknowledge Joe LaValle in the passing of his wife this past week. We're deeply sorry for his loss, and we're thinking of him, and we miss him.
Yes. Yeah, he had a hard time of it. So he will be here the next meeting, he said. So you guys will get to meet him. All right. Well, if you don't have anything else, we can adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.